Hello, campaign listeners and readers. We are officially 2 weeks out from Campaign Convene, so we thought it'd be great to give you a little preview of what you're in for. And if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, you may want to after this conversation. So I am Luz Corona, editor of Campaign in the U.S., and I am here with my colleague, Cecilia Garzella, our data journalist. Cecilia, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Come to Convene, y'all.
Yeah. Right? It's been months in the making, but I'm really excited about the way it's kind of come together. And let's give these guys a little preview of what to expect at this year's conference. So let's go with the kind of boring high level stuff. You know, full day of programming with 11 sessions, dedicated networking breaks. And the cherry on top is that Spark Awards are happening right afterwards.
Yeah, no, we have 20 honorees, I think, that we're super excited to honor after all the panels. And it was so fun, like just getting to judge those two and read through all the submissions. It was super hard to pick.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's cool that we're combining those two, because then hopefully, you know, the attendees and honorees that come get to also kind of benefit from all the programming and stuff and networking.
Yeah, we can like kind of just some food for thought and then, you know, some drinks to celebrate. But, you know, I think this is special to talk about this on this little mini episode of Chemistry, because we talk a lot about emerging talent as our concluding question for our guests, and just saying like asking, who do you think is on the rise? And now we got to pick folks that we see on the rise.
Yeah.
Which, to your point, it's pretty impressive class.
Yeah, and I think we also made it a point too to make sure that we're highlighting and honoring people from like, you know, not just creative backgrounds, but even just like media backgrounds, comms, like all kinds of marketing expertise. So I'm just excited for everyone to meet each other, and yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. So that's going to be great. I think there's a ton of panels that we're excited about. I know which one I'm excited about, but which one are you excited about?
Okay, I gotta say, I'm excited for Emma's Hot Ones.
Yes.
Because as someone who sits next to her, I've been seeing how she's been prepping for this, and she literally told me like she can't handle spicy food. And I'm like,
Great.
I'm thinking like, how is this gonna go? Yeah. But no, we're actually pre-ordering like the Hot Ones lineup of sauces to hopefully like test out a little teaser. So Emma, she'll be fine. She said she can handle, you know, pepperoni at least. So
God, should I be worried? I don't know. We'll see. This is,
we'll have milk.
We'll have milk.
We'll be on standby.
Yeah. And I think it's great that Emma, you know, obviously like we know Emma from working with her, but I think she's just the perfect person for this. She's super candid and honest and straightforward. She's
even without the spicy hot wings.
Yes.
So with the wings, I don't know what she's going to say, but yeah.
And also, you know, they're talking about like creativity ideas, you know, almost like a hot takes while eating hot wings kind of conversation. And I think the cool part about this too, aside from like the guests that we're going to have, it's going to be very similar to what Hot Ones is like because it's inspired, but we're working with the First We Feast team to make sure that this feels like what a Hot Ones episode would feel like.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I got to sit in on a couple of those meetings, and it's cool to have like that back and forth in terms of like kind of branding and just learning from them too. So
yeah,
it's fun. I think we got Mark Gross, co-founder of High Dive. We got Amanda Dyke from Havas Media Network, and Tristan Norman from Getty. So really cool like expertise, I think, on this panel.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very curious to hear what ideas they've left on the cutting room floor in their journeys, for sure. Well, the one panel that I'm really excited about, nerd out with me here, is actually your panel, Cecilia, about legal compliance. And it's like the unsexiest topic in advertising, but it's something that we all deal with. And who better to speak to it than the marketing leaders from Tubi, Liquid Death, and EOS, who have put together these kind of wacky, amazing, you know, buzzy campaigns.
Yeah, no. So I had my prep call with them, and they're gems. And So Young from EOS actually pointed out that they're all challenger brands too, which I didn't even think about at first. But no, I don't want to give anything away like before the panel itself, but they're all going to talk about kind of the crazy legal back and forth that went into some of their best work. So yeah,
Amazing.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, I can't wait for that. I think another panel that should be good, and, just like, let's give a little bit of color to why we picked the speakers that we did. The creator panel that's going to be moderated by our creator reporter, Julia Walker, will be with Verizon and Tribeca. And Verizon specifically will talk about their hyperlocal efforts and Tribeca's new creator initiative. So that'll be a good one.
And it's cool too, because these are all things that we've written about and like covered before. So kind of getting that overlap too with like this in-person conference is just, it's special, and excited for people to hear.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's something that we were keeping in mind for this. We want to make sure when putting together this agenda that our audience is informed and inspired. And to your point, it's very interesting. There's a little bit more of a creative focus, but also a lot of sports on here.
Which is no coincidence either, given our whole, not to plug play-by-play, but I mean, we're all in on sports marketing here. And literally in the craziest year of sports too. Yeah. So I'm really excited for Jack from MM&M, our sister brand. He'll be moderating a panel, with some big stars. We got the CMO of MLS, CMO of BetMGM, and then SVP of sports marketing at Havas Play. So
genius. Yeah, brilliant minds. Yeah. And then another one that's good is State of the Nation, which covers the intersection of politics and marketing. And we kind of covered this last year in our Outlook 2030 panel, which had your intellectual crush, Donna Sharp from Media Link.
Love her.
She was great. And just some really brilliant minds on stage this year, I think will teach us a lot. Obviously this is kind of like a dicey topic, but it has to be discussed, right? There's way too much going on in the world to not talk about the intersection of politics and advertising. So it'll be moderated by our boss, Steve Barrett from Campaign and PR Week. And he'll be talking to Seth Laxman, who handles advocacy and activism at Lush, which we've written a lot about. Caroline Detman. She is the CMO and head of growth operations at World Business Chicago. And then we have agency perspectives from Foray's CEO, Justin Thomas Copeland, and Greg James from Havas.
Yeah, I will say last year I found that Outlook session to be really one of the most kind of informative ones. Especially it was right when Trump came into office. And so now we're in year 2. And I think it'll be cool to just continue that conversation, see how things have changed, not changed. So yeah, that one I feel will be especially insightful.
Yeah, for sure. Because a year ago, we weren't dealing with I think it's going to be interesting what Caroline has to say, marketing a city that's being affected by ICE raids and, just directly impacted by this administration. And it's how do you market a city that's kind of going through that?
Yeah.
So that'll be really great. And then, are you still watching, crafting those phygital experiences that stick? And who better to speak to that than NBC and Netflix, right?
I gotta say, did you just say phygital?
Yeah, phygital. Let's bring that word into mainstream
It's not
culture.
happening.
Yeah. It's never going to happen. So that'll be really great. Obviously, what's a marketing conference without talking about AI?
Exactly.
Right.
Can't avoid it.
Can't avoid it. So I just had the prep call for that, the ripple effect of AI. And that'll be with, James Slezak, founder and CEO of Swayable, Christina Lawrence from Razorfish, and James Clark from Newell, which is the Tupperware brand, just in case anyone doesn't know.
Hey, we can't forget.
Yeah. So that'll be really great. And then, we'll be talking about other things like long game relevance, and who better to speak to that than a brand like Stanley making their comeback with these big cups. And then we'll be talking to Spark honorees. And then last but not least, closing with New York Nico.
Guys, we're just scratching the surface here. Just get your butt over.
Get your butt over here. And I forgot to mention that we'll be kicking off the day with an opening keynote with Shayna Stevenson from New York Liberty. We are all Team Ellie inside. Yes. So, to kind of get inside her brain a little bit and just be like, how did you do what you did with Brooklyn?
Just tell us. And it's true because Leslie did some great coverage too earlier last year on just WNBA and Liberty and all the different kind of partnerships there. So again, continued coverage here. That'll be a good one.
And for any listeners who want to nerd out a little bit, you know, what we'll be doing is kind of compiling this related coverage that Cecilia is talking about. It's kind of been breadcrumbs throughout the year,
Yeah.
I feel. Like we've covered these stories and these brands, and that's why we went to them to participate here.
Yeah.
So yes, all in all, I think we can conclude that this is going to be really great. You know, I may be biased, but I think it'll be
Yeah.
good. But let's give these listeners the details. So when will all this happen? February 25th in New York City at a Convene location. You can get your tickets by visiting campaignusconvene.com. Do you want me to spell it? No, I'm not going to spell it. But visit campaignusconvene.com. Stay tuned to our social channels and our site for promo codes and just check it out. Right, Cecilia?
Yeah, can't wait to see you all there.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.